Can everybody hear me? Yes? No? Better? Welcome to Inspire You. You guys are in for a treat today. This guy's great. I'm so excited. So our speaker today is a former NFL running back from the Denver Broncos. But we're not going to hold that against him. Sorry, Reggie. He is a media personality and a business owner who has worked in newspaper, radio, and TV in Denver. He graduated from Texas State University with a degree in journalism and earned his master's degree in global studies from the University of Denver. He's written 5 books. The latest is an award-winning novel, The Colony, A Political Tale. Please join me in welcoming Reggie Rivers.
Thank you. All right, you bet. Thank you. Thank you for that. And where was our Denver Broncos fan? What's your name, ma'am? Rachel. And I met you, Derek. All right, Rachel and Derek. The rest of you, go to hell. No, it's exciting to be here. It's funny when that Chiefs song came on. Kansas City was one of my favorite places to come play when I was in the NFL because the stadium is cool, the fans are cool. It's very a collegiate kind of atmosphere. It's not like when you go to Oakland. When you go to Oakland, it's like the bus is rolling in. It's like, is this a prison or is this? Are all these people allowed to be here? There's no limitations. All right, so what I'm going to talk about this morning are some lessons that I learned from the NFL about teamwork and collaborating together. And, you guys here on the AE team, you're all working together as a team to help your agents or your advisors achieve their goals and build their business. And it's so talking about how is it that you build the team that you have here and you build your team outside. And so 3 core things we're going to talk about. The first is your internal team. How in this building with all the people that you're working with, how do you guys learn to work well together so that you're all achieving your goals and you're all advancing in your career and you're advancing the interests of the company and the people that you're working for. Then your external team are all your agents, right? And in football, the team has the internal team, which is all the players and coaches, but then there's tens of thousands, millions of fans who tens of thousands of them come to the stadium for every game, millions of them watch on TV. How do you build that kind of culture where you have these passionate people outside of your organization who just look at you and say, we love what you do and we want to support you and we want to be involved with you. And that's the relationship you're trying to build with your agents. And finally, setting and celebrating incremental gains. So in football, our goal every year is to win the Super Bowl, but we don't wait until we win the Super Bowl to start celebrating. We celebrate every touchdown, every nice catch, every interception, every sack, every good run. Everything gets celebrated all the time, and that's a big part of how teams maintain the momentum and their enthusiasm. And I can see just walking through the halls here that you guys have a pretty cool culture in this building, pretty relaxed, pretty supportive. Everybody's kind of having a good time. And so that kind of celebrating doesn't seem like it'll come hard to you guys. So we'll talk about that in a minute. But the first thing I wanted to do this morning is explain to you why Tim Tebow is not in the NFL. Tim Tebow brought the term Tebowing into the dictionary. Everywhere you look, people were Tebowing all the time. Animated characters Tebowed, animals Tebowed, babies came out of the womb Tebowing, and for good reason. This guy is arguably the greatest college football player in the history of the NCAA. If you look at the resume of things that he accomplished during his collegiate career, he was the first sophomore to win the Heisman Trophy. He was a 3-time Heisman finalist. Now, for most players, to be a finalist one time, meaning you're down to the final 3, would be the highlight of their careers. He was a finalist 3 times and won the award once and was the first sophomore to win it. He won 2 national championships during his time at the University of Florida. He set 28 Florida records, 14 SEC records, and 5 NCAA records during his collegiate career. Tim Tebow is arguably the greatest college football player in the history of the NCAA. And so he comes out, the Broncos draft him, and when he gets on the field with the Broncos, he wins games. Miraculous, ridiculous, crazy, wild. Somehow he gets you the first down, he gets you the touchdown, he gets you the victory. He wins games. But after that season, or he got the Broncos in the playoffs that year, and they won their first playoff game in quite a few years. But after that season, the Broncos let him go because they wanted Peyton Manning. So they sent him to the Jets. The Jets kept him for about a year. They let him go. The Patriots picked him up. They cut him. He went to training camp with the Eagles. They cut him. Then he was out of football working for the SEC network, now making a bid in Major League Baseball with the Mets organization. So the question is, how is it that a guy who has the talent of Tim Tebow, a guy who is arguably the greatest college football player in the history of the NCAA, a guy who, when he got in the NFL, he won games. If the measure of a quarterback is how many games can you win, Tim Tebow objectively was successful. He won football games. So why is it that 4 NFL teams have brought him in and said no thank you, and the other 28 teams won't even give him a shot? Well, this is basically the challenge that Tebow has. So if that football represents the quarterback, and we have Broncos' great wide receiver, Emmanuel Sanders, at the top. I know most of you aren't Broncos fans, but who cares? We have Broncos' great wide receiver, Demaryius Thomas, down at the bottom, and we've got a safety in the middle, and we're telling the quarterback, I want you to watch that safety. When that safety makes a decision, quarterback, you make a decision. And to force that safety to make a decision, we're going to send Emmanuel Sanders on a deep crossing route in front of that safety, and we're going to send Demaryius on a post route behind that safety. So that safety is going to see these 2 receivers coming up the field, and he's going to have a decision point in that play, depending on what the coverage is. He might step up on that crossing route. If he does that, quarterback, you immediately throw the ball over his head to the post route. Or the safety might open his hips and turn to run with that post route. If he does that, quarterback, you immediately throw the ball underneath to the crossing route. That's it. Quarterback, you watch that safety. As soon as that safety makes one step in the direction of a decision, you throw the ball. Well, the challenge that Tebow had is the safety would step up, Tebow wouldn't throw the ball. Safety steps back, Tebow doesn't throw the ball. As soon as you pass through that moment in the play that was called in the huddle is over. Now you're telling Emmanuel Sanders, listen, just run around out there wildly and try to get yourself open. And Demaryius, run around, see if you can get yourself open. Tebow, keep yourself alive back there for as long as you can. Finally, it's a touch. He throws the ball, it's a touchdown. The crowd goes wild and says, Tebow has done it again. But the coaches are looking at this play going, we can't game plan that. We can't practice that. I mean, this play is built on the specific talent of Tim Tebow, but it doesn't really leverage all of our knowledge and experience. As coaches, we have 423 years of combined coaching experience. We know how to study safeties and linebackers and defensive end to find their decision points in plays and then leverage that to be the trigger point for what we're going to do. Well, when you run a play like this, you basically negate those 423 years of experience. We may as well not have that experience. This is more backyard football. How long do you think the average NFL play lasts? This is a test. How smart are Chiefs fans? Who said 2.5 seconds? That's not a bad guess, but it's more than that. 4 seconds. What's your name? Kevin. All right, Kevin got it exactly right. And he's wearing the Nigerian Daydream shirt. Nightmare. Excuse me. I just get that mixed up. 4 seconds is exactly right. The average NFL play from snap to whistle lasts 4 seconds. The coaches look at this play and they say, Tebow held the ball for 10 seconds on this play. We can't ask our wide receivers to run around for 10 seconds on every pass play. We can't ask our offensive line to block for 10 seconds on every pass play. We can't expect our quarterback to stay alive for 10 seconds on every pass play. It's just an unsustainable model. This is fundamentally the reason that Tim Tebow is not in the NFL. He had other problems with his throwing mechanics and the speed and all that, but you could live with all that if you would throw the ball on time, because to be a good teammate, you have to be predictable. When you're building a team and when you're working with your team inside this building, you have to be predictable. People have to be able to count on you to do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it. They have to count on you to do your job, not just do your job, but do your job in a particular way. Those wide receivers have spent their entire lives learning how to run a pass route in such a way that when they make their break at the top of the route, they do it so explosively, they create a little bit of separation between themselves and the defender. If the ball's not in the air at the right time to take advantage of that separation, they may as well not have that ability. These offensive linemen have learned to use explosive blocking techniques for 4 or 5 seconds at a time. If you routinely tell them, yeah, you got to hold this block for 10 seconds, well, then they can't use all the talent they have. And so the reason that Tim Tebow is not in the NFL is Tim Tebow is not predictable, and he tends to squander the talent of people around him. He is incredibly talented, but the talent around him gets squandered. And that's what happens when you're on a team. If you're not predictable, if people can't count on you to do your job in a predictable way, you start to squander the talent of people around you. Here's another example here. Ed McCaffrey, you guys heard of him, a great Broncos wide receiver? Well, when he joined the Broncos in 1995, it was my 5th year in the NFL, and Ed that year was named by Westword Magazine to have the best butt on the Denver Broncos. And I thought, I'm on that team. I mean, bet me, I'm on that team. I was on that team. And I was just really, I was kind of offended. My butt has gotten bigger over the years. A few months ago, my wife and I were at the movies, and I got up to go to use the restroom, and I'm scooting down the aisle, and when I came back, I'm scooting back down the aisle. When I got to my seat, my wife says, Reggie, your butt has gotten so big, you nearly wiped off that woman's lipstick. I thought she should lean back. So in the NFL, every practice is filmed, and the next day you watch the previous day's practice. And so we're in the offensive meeting room. We're watching the previous day's practice. Mike Shanahan says, Ed McCaffrey, how deep are you supposed to be when you make your break on your pass route? And Ed says, I'm supposed to be at 10 yards. Shanahan rewinds the play and says, how deep are you? We all watch Ed make his break at 12 yards from the line of scrimmage. Shanahan says, the reason I need you to make your break at 10 yards is because I've got John Elway on a 5-step drop on this play, and I'm telling John, when he hits his 5th step, he throws the ball to you on rhythm. If you're not open, he takes one hitch step, looks for Shannon Sharp on the crossing route. If Shannon's not open, we throw the ball away and bring on our punter to punt to the other team, because I promised the offensive line this ball is going to be gone in 2.8 seconds. Why is that? We're in a formation that's slightly unsound. We can't account for a blitz from the other side, meaning an extra rusher. We don't have anybody to block an extra rusher. So I'm telling John he's responsible for that extra rusher. The problem is his back is going to be turned to that guy. He'll never see him coming. So our only defense is he's got to get rid of the ball in 2.8 seconds. So you watch what happens on this play, Ed. You're running your route. John hits his 5th step. He's ready to throw the ball to you, but he can tell that you're not even starting to throttle down to make your break. He knows you're going too deep. He has to give up on you, look for Shannon on the crossing route. Shannon's covered. Now we have to throw the ball away and punt, Ed, because you went 2 yards too deep on your route. Ed was like, whoa. Who knew? And I think we all had this epiphany of like, who knew? I think we all understood that we're part of a team, and we're the Denver Broncos football team. We understand that we're part of a team, but I think we tended to not think about what our teammates were doing. So I was a running back. I worried about things that were running back issues. I didn't think about what the wide receivers were doing, and I only thought about the offensive line to the extent that they blocked the other guys to keep them from hitting me. But other than that, I didn't really think about what their job was. But we all started to understand through Shanahan that our jobs are connected to each other, and it's not just about doing your job. You have to do your job in a particular way so that everybody else can do their jobs as well. You have to do your job in a way. There's a lot of A, B choices that you can make about things that you're going to do, and whether you choose A or B is equal to you. It's no more effort or no less effort to you, but choosing A makes things a lot easier for the next person in the chain, and choosing B makes things a lot harder. And when you start thinking about how do I impact the people around you, or around me, you start becoming a better and better teammate all the time. You know, I was a running back my entire life. From when I started playing when I was 8 years old, I was a running back. And my understanding of running back was offensive linemen block defenders, running backs go get the glory. And I thought, I like this arrangement. I will go get the glory. I will score the touchdowns. People will come up and cheer for my success. I'll meet the girls. I'll get interviewed on TV. All of this. Yes, this will work out. I think this is a good plan. You guys block those guys. I'll go get the glory. But I'm not going to be a glory hog. I'm not going to take it all to myself. I'm going to say, hey, I couldn't have done it without my teammates. But I did it. And so, but I discovered something this is another test of you Kansas City fans. But be, I didn't pass this test until I was a senior in college. So if you don't know it, don't feel too bad about yourselves. What is it that defenders have that offensive linemen don't have? Defenders have something that offensive linemen do not have. What's your name, sir? Mark? Vision is exactly right. Defenders have eyes. You guys didn't know that? I didn't know it either. Until I was a senior in college, I didn't know defenders have eyes. Offensive linemen, if I'm the offensive lineman and you guys are the running back, I'm blocking for you. My back is turned to you. I don't know where you're going. I don't know where you are. I have a theoretical knowledge of where you're going because I know what play we called in the huddle. Defenses work on actuals. Defenses actually see the running back. So if I'm a running back and I take off running over to the left side, all those defenders with their eyes are just going to run right over there and tackle me, and my offensive linemen have almost no shot of making that block. If we're going to run the ball to the left, then it's my job to set up my teammates for success. I've got to start to the right and commit myself pretty far to draw up those defenders so then my offensive lineman can block them, and then I can go score the touchdown. And so it's the running back's job to set up his blockers. And I didn't really understand that until my senior year in college, and when I understood it, I became a much better running back. When you are part of an organization and you're always thinking about how do I set up my teammates for success? How do I do my job in a way that helps the people that are working with me be more successful as well? You start to become a stronger and stronger team where all of you achieve more and more of what you're trying to accomplish. Engaging with your external team. So how do you get the advisors that you advise and support, how do you get them to become your raving fans and really in love with Advisors Excel and in love with all the marketing support and the compliance support and all the other support that you give to them? Well, one I want to tell you about, I wish I had a football with me. I forgot to bring a football. Nobody has a football. It figures. So I had this epiphany when I was playing in the NFL that there was a game, I don't remember even what game it was, but we're driving down the field. We've got a great drive going. We're down to like the 15-yard line, and we get called for holding. And the referee went out, picked up the football, said, hey, holding, number whoever on the Denver Broncos, and then marched off 10 yards and set the football down. And I remember sitting on the sideline saying, man, we just screwed the football. I mean,